Alright, so I finally finished the mod. This is what it looks like. 2 switches, 3 buttons. That's it. You turn on. Automatically the top right's on because that's your primary weapon. Now when you first start it, this is the only issue. When you're in off, you turn the rapid fire off at first, your Y button doesn't work because it has a charged capacitor and it doesn't trick the chip into knowing that the trigger's attached. But anyway, don't worry about that. So turn it on, press Y, works. Turn it off, press Y, works. No big deal. So left trigger works, right trigger works, Y button works. Alright, so when you first start off, you're in class 1 and turn it on, hold the trigger. It automatically starts going at the speed that it was set at. All your settings are saved in the EEPROM, so when you turn it off, turn it back on, it works the same way as it did before. Alright, on the bottom you got your Y reset and your mode and then your set. So let's say you're playing and you're in your primary weapon and then you switch to your secondary and you die. When you respawn, you'll respawn with your primary weapon again, but you'll be in your secondary speed. So I added this Y reset button, so when you press it, you go back to your primary weapon and it's got the primary speed on it. Anyway, so full auto weapons don't work exactly the way single would. So let's go get a battle rifle and I'll show you some more stuff. Whoa. Well, I was doing good for a minute there, now I'm doing terrible. Alright, so I think there's one right. Oh wow. Whatever. So pick up that weapon and so when you switch weapons, completely different speed. Now if you want to set the speed, you just turn your potentiometer on the side. This is slower, this is higher. So let's go slower since that one was faster. Then you press your set button. Your LEDs will blink. It means it's set. Let's set it twice. So that's slower. Let's go a little bit faster. Reset it. Pull the trigger. Alright, that's faster. Alright, so you got several different modes. You have your second class, third class, fourth class, fifth class, sixth class. Alright, seventh is your rapid fire duel. Now I can't show you that on Halo, but it'll work. And then the next mode is your cycled rapid fire. I don't know how many people actually care about this, but if you pull your right trigger, it'll convince the controller that you're pulling right, then you're waiting, then you're pulling left, you're waiting, you're pulling right, and it just keeps going back and forth cycled. Now you control the speed between the two with your potentiometer. So there's not actually a setting that you can save for that one, it's just a manual setting. So your next one is left only. So you set your potentiometer manually and then you pull the trigger and it keeps pulling. Well, you got to turn it on. So you keep pulling and it'll pull it whatever setting you set the potentiometer at. So your next is your right fire burst. Now I messed with this thing forever and it doesn't seem to work quite the way I want it to. I don't I don't know if somebody else can reprogram it to work better, but this is what works for me. So you press it, shoots 3 times, and it waits and pulls it a second time. Alright, so you can change, each weapon has a different delay on it, and you have to change it so it works with that weapon. So you have to change the potentiometer to delay the speed, so when you pull it really, see, it pulls it like 5 times and then that 6th time. But if you dial it in, it'll only shoot 3 times and then that last time. And when you have it too high, it just doesn't do anything the way it's supposed to. But anyway, after you press the mode button again, it goes right back to the first class. I mainly programmed this to work with Halo. I mean, I don't play Halo a lot, but I don't even play Xbox that much. This is just for fun. I mean, when I was a kid, I always wanted to make one or copy somebody else's and just remake it or something, and I never was able to do it. And recently I got these electronic skills, so I could actually learn how to make them. So this is one of my dream projects, I guess. I mean, right now I just play Battlefield, and that's about it. Kind of waiting for the Darkness 2. Haven't got the money to buy it, but I'll probably just wait until it drops down to 30 bucks in 2 months. So anyway, so this is my mod. I gotta say, it was the most annoying mod ever. It took like 4 weeks. It took me 3 days just to be able to wire the thing so it'll fit inside the remote. If I actually start selling these, I probably will not make it so it sits inside the remote unless I make a PCB for it, because I'm not spending 3 days just wiring it for everybody. If I sold this one, I'd probably sell it for like $50 just because of how much annoyance it took me. And I mean, I added the blue LEDs just for fun. I mean, I ordered a few for like $2 and put them in. I could do this for like $10 for everybody that wants it. It's no big deal. But it was a really fun mod. It was extremely annoying. I wish I had some hot glue to put on these pieces of tape. And these SMT switches were probably not the best idea. I mean, I had to attach LED leads to them and then stick them through the case and then tape them down, and that could be pretty fragile. That's why I put the tape on them. They haven't broken yet, and I've used it for an hour or two, but I have a feeling that they could possibly break pretty easy. And I was planning on putting the Y switch right here, but then I realized I'd have to put another set of pins in it that would attach to it. And honestly, there's no more room in this thing. You cannot, there's nothing, there's no room to put anything else. I mean, you still have your vibration motor in your right, or your dual shock in your right handle, but your left is just, it's completely full of stuff. And other than that, like this little bitty wire that I bought, this stuff is terrible. I mean, you bend it 5 times and the stuff breaks. So I had to use a ton of heat shrink, and then it still broke like 10 times. This stuff's just too brittle. And by the way, I've got downloaded stuff so it didn't mess up the disc. So it's, the only thing that I kind of don't like is when I first put it together, you can see the handle's kind of loose because there's no plastic in here to hold it. I literally carved out every bit of plastic that was for that dual shock just to fit all this stuff in here. And I put screws in it so that the switches stay in, otherwise it'd be loose and falling out. It's just a regular battery pack, there's nothing under it. 2 chargeable batteries. If you use second player, you could just switch the LED wires, or you could add a switch so you can switch between second and first. You have to run an extra wire and put another switch in here somewhere. good luck with that. But my primary idea for this is to add more features to it and not take much away from it. So that's why I kept the motor in this handle and replaced the smaller motor with the circuit. There is no functionality difference. It still works with driving games, it still works with airplane games. Whatever you want to play with it, it'll still work. Some mods, they hook them up and you can't use them for any kind of race car game because the chip doesn't output analog. But this one doesn't have to worry about that since I put the switches in it. The switches just pretty much either wire it to the chip or wire it back to itself. And that's all I got. Hope you guys like it. Good luck trying to replicate it. You guys, you said the last one the chip was too beefy and I didn't use all the pins and I didn't use all the programming space for it. But this one, I think I used every possible thing with it. I used every pin. I used all the programming space, just about. And I put a whole lot of work into it. And you guys wanted the ring of light thing, so I added that. You wanted, what else was it? Different modes. Everybody likes the switches on the bottom. I don't care too much for them, but they work. They're easier than what I was planning to do. And you guys didn't like the wheel or the knob, so I replaced it with a wheel. If you still don't like the wheel, then you can just get over it, because I think it's a better design than having pre-made settings. I want you to be able to set your own settings whichever way you want, because you never know when they'll come out with a game that you have to set your own settings. The chip won't work with it without your own settings. But you didn't like the switches, and they don't get in your way really. Like, my thumbs go completely over them. Like when I press the A button, it rubs up against my finger, but it doesn't hurt. I mean, if you wanted to cut them down, make them shorter, that would be fine. You'd still be able to control them same way. You can still sync your controller. I didn't change that, unlike some mods. But anyways, hope you like it. I know I do. So, see ya.